Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back for the SAT course. This is Educademy and my name is Ahmed Musallam. Today's lesson is very easy but essential in the SAT test about transitions and rhetorical synthesis. Okay, we'll start by the transitions first. There are the words that show logical relationship between two sentences, such as contrast, cause and effect, chronology, emphasis, and continuation. For sure, it's important to know which words indicate what type of relationship. I provide you now tables that you can take screenshots for them. They will help you a lot to understand different types of transitions. We have coordinated conjunctions, subordinated conjunctions, and also conjunctive adverbs. Also here, very important table that will talk about if the sentences are going in the same direction, you are going to use these ones. Okay, these words, you will use them if the sentence is going in the same direction. If there is a change in direction, that means go on opposite sides, you can use these ones. But if it is cause and effect, there's going to be the words to be used. This is a very, very important table that you should take a screenshot for. Now, let's start. Bismillah. I need you to spend some time to try to answer these 5 questions. You can pause the video and check your answers afterwards. Okay, here are the answers. If you have a mistake or something, go back to the tables that we mentioned before and to see the direction for the sentence. Now, what is the strategy for transition questions? Very simple strategy that you will do. For sure, as usual, you really understand the question, identify the question type, do what is required, which is check how the ideas connected by the blank relate to each other. As we said, it's like a relationship between two sentences, one before the blank and one after the blank. Eliminate the wrong direction transitions that we mentioned in the previous table. If we're going in the same direction, use these words, or opposite directions, or the change in direction, or cause and effect. Also eliminate answers which do not link the ideas meaningfully. And the transition must logically connect the information and ideas in the parts before and after it. And this is the key thing for the transition. You have to get the relationship between the sentences in order to put the right transition words. Also eliminate here the wrong answers. Let's try the first one here. Seeing here, polls showed that Tony Blair is the most popular prime minister this century. And then there's a blank here for transition words. We have options here, and there is a comma, as you can find after the transition, after the blank. There are even members of his own party who are uneasy with his approach. That means what? These two sentences are going in the same direction, or there's a change in direction. One is going, for example, in a positive way, and another one going in a negative way. Okay, sure, it is opposites. Okay, so there is change in direction now. So let's go and check the transitions. We have in particular, okay, does not suit here. However, which means but, could work here. For an instance, okay, for example, even though, okay, it's a word that we can use it for this, but this is not a right transitional word here. So the answer will be easily B, letter B. That's correct. However, okay, you can do this in your own. Also try to think logically by this. Before you go on, I just want to clarify something to you that many students fall in. The two words here, B and C, in other words and similarly. What are the difference between in other words and similarly? In other words, it's talking about the same item, same thing, but in a different way. So we are not here comparing between two things. It's only the same thing. It is the same thing, but we just rephrase it in another way. But similarly, you compare between two items, two different items. We say this item A, for example, similarly to it, the item B is doing the same thing. So in other words, we talk about only one item. Similarly, we talk about two different items. Nevertheless means but, however means but, both of them, they have the same meaning, so most likely they will be cancelled. And usually when you have in the options in other words and similarly, the answer will be between them, so you have to read carefully to know what is the answer. So I'll give you time, read, pause the video and try to answer it before I move to the answer. Okay, the other word, in other words, is the answer here. In other words, because we are talking about the same thing. Okay. Okay, here also we have where is, when, since, and so. Also read carefully. Read the sentence before and the sentence after. See the relationship and try to find the right answer. Do this in your own, and here is the answer. Okay, it's cause and effect. Number 4, do the same technique. You read the sentence before the blank, sentence after the blank, try to find the relationship and compare this with the answers here. We have therefore, cause and effect, additionally, continuing, accordingly, also cause and effect. In other words, okay, we explained it just a few minutes ago. Pause the video, try to answer before you go on. Yeah, it's going to be additionally. Okay, therefore and accordingly they are the same, that's why they are eliminated, so it will be easy for you to see these two other options, B and D, additionally and in other words. Okay, this is the section for transitions. Rhetorical synthesis is, I consider it is not one of the easiest questions in the test, but it is the easiest. It is the easiest in the test, and they are like 2 or 3 questions by the end of the lesson. And this is what I advise my students to start the exam with. Do not leave these questions to the end because they are easy marks. Okay, so every rhetorical synthesis question has some parts. These parts are essential in all rhetorical synthesis questions. We have introduction, we have a set of bulleted points, we have a question, we have 4 answer choices, and also the question will ask you to effectively use relevant information from notes to achieve a particular objective. I'm going to give you a tip here for this, which is for some cases you may not have to read the notes, all these things. All what you have to read is the question very well, see how many points he's asking you for, and then you try your answers, try the answer and see which answer cover this question. Because if you ask about 2 things to say or to take notes on, and he mentioned only one of them, have an answer is not an answer. Okay, so it's an incomplete answer, that means it's wrong. So if we ask about 2 items in the question, you have to find these 2 items answered in the options. Okay, so understanding the question is halfway of the answer. If you're able to understand the question very well, you may not need to read the notes. But in the recent exams for SAT, they consider that tip, so they put you they put in the options. Okay, what do we say, the thing that will cover the 2 points, for example, but these 2 points are completely wrong from the notes. So in that case you have to go back to the notes. So if you have 2 answers that cover the question, go back to the notes to check them and see which one is correct, because the other one definitely will be wrong. Okay, as we said here, you can in most cases answer the question without referring to the bulleted points. Let's try this in the coming one here. Strategy, as we said here, you just do what is required, understand the objective to be achieved, this is very important. Okay, and then eliminate the wrong answers and that do not achieve the objective, and also they are that are partly correct. Look here in this question, this long thing here about the notes, as we said, introduction with the notes, and then the question and the 4 options, as we said. You don't have to, in most cases, to go through all these notes. Okay, you can go to the question directly and see what other things that he is looking for. So for example, in this question here, the students wants to compare what? The height. So you have to understand, we need to compare what? The height records, the height records. That means it's a big record held in the past. So this is something also very important, by two structures. So I have to find here in the options something talking about two structures and talking about their records. Okay, so if you compare the answers here, what is the one that achieves this goal? We need to talk about the two structures, height records in the past. Okay, for example, let's see letter A. Some of the world's tallest structures, including the Eiffel Tower in France, are taller than 300 meters. Now it's talking about only one structure, so we eliminate this. Okay, the Empire State Building stood as the world's tallest building till 1970. This is one structure talking about a world record here. Okay, while Eiffel Tower remained the world's highest monument till 1930, also in the past. This one covers all parts of the question, but I don't stop here. I have to check C and D as well. So the Eiffel Tower, named after an engineer, is located in Paris. It's only talking about the structure, so doesn't make sense here. Both the Empire State Building, which is located in New York, and the Eiffel Tower, which is located in Paris, are examples of tall man-made structures. There are no records here mentioned, although he mentioned both structures. So you have to look at the parts of the questions. Is compare what? The height records. We have to see height records held in the past. We can see this higher in B. We can see height records in the past about two structures. So definitely B is the correct answer. A very simple and easy question you have to start the question with, okay, your exam with. So my advice to start by question 27 in the test. This is going to be the ones that has the bulleted points. Okay, you can do this in your own. Okay, pause the screen and try to read the question very well. Let me clarify to you. The student wants to emphasize the general safety of MSG. General safety of MSG. You try the options first and you'll find it's easily saying, okay, one of the answers is correct. Take your time, read the questions. If you can't find the answer, for sure go back to the notes and bullet points, and you have to read them properly. But I think it's very easy to find out that the answer is D. Question number 7, also the same here. The student wants to compare the sources of personal information. We're not talking about the personal information itself, but we talk about the sources. From where can we get such personal information about two artists? Okay, so if you found personal information about two artists, is wrong. We need the sources, not the personal information. We need from where can we get these personal information. And also, if it's talking about only one artist, it's wrong. So you have to take care of these parts of the question. Easily, let us see the answer. Okay, little is known about Leonardo's intimate relationship from his own writing. This is the source here, his own writing. While Michelangelo has left many poems, okay, letters about his close relationship. Also, this is the source here. Understand? So you have to take care of every single detail in the question. Number 8 here, we'll go back to the transitions. Compare the previous sentence and the sentence after to find out the answer. You can pause the screen. Okay, the answer is while here. This one also pause. Okay, now the answer is as a result, cause and effect. And here also try to read before and after. Pause and try yourself. Now we get the answer, which is for instance means for example. Okay, another question here. The same thing. You read the sentence before and the sentence after, find the direction, find the relationship, and it will be easily for you get the answer, which is however. Okay, that's all for today. I hope you benefited something today, these are our links. Anytime for asking a question, you can write in the comments. Inshallah, I'll do my best to answer you there. Best of luck for you. Assalamu alaikum.